I think mind control sounds crazy to people, but it's not. But then once you start to notice it, you can't unsee it. When I first heard of Monarch, by the way, it's part of MK Ultra and all that other shit.
This is the story of a 30-year search by U.S. intelligence agencies to perfect mind control. Some of those engaged in that search have agreed to talk about it for the first time.
Tonight, we are taking you inside the CIA's top-secret mind control program called MK Ultra. The program, born in the Cold War, built on the idea that a human being could be bent, broken, or steered with the right drug, the right fear, the right push.
Much like a robot's network of wires transmitting signals between sensors, processors, and motors, our nervous system also has a similar setup. Signals are sent from our sensory organs to the brain and finally get actuated in the muscles. To understand how we can control something with our mind, we need to comprehend brain signals, also known as mind reading. This mind reading is a fundamental aspect of being able to control or manipulate those signals.
2018, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency could also be used by DARPA as a new form of mind control. Like their counterparts at the CIA, DARPA-funded researchers have spent decades investigating how the human mind can be altered. In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior.
It could be 1,000 things that affect brain chemistry: a tuned microwave beam, gamma radiation, a radio signal.
Which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior.
To read and write to human brains. Maybe the next step is we can send instructions and information to an actual person from a distance with this kind of technology to let another person control their actions.
In the near future, DARPA may possess the technology to remotely control the human mind. According to some scientists, a more permanent kind of mind control technology is looming, and it involves modifying the human brain by altering the human body's DNA.
The future of mind control, and the future being right now because these experiments are being done, is using gene editing tools. So you take the CRISPR that you want to use, and you put these pieces together that can be injected and insert this DNA to certain areas of the brain so that we can change brain cells and turn you into something you wouldn't otherwise be. So in this way, gene editing technologies like CRISPR really form a definite basis for future mind control.
Because the pineal gland is a receiver, a frequency receiver, is the third eye. It has rods and cones, just like the retina in our eyes has rods and cones. It receives information and frequencies and sound and resonance, and it should allow us to communicate telepathically. It should allow us all the benefits of ESP. It should connect us to all the knowledge and information in the resonance field and the morphogenetic field.
What do the Nazis, the CIA, and Aleister Crowley all have in common? What's really controlling Hollywood and the music industry? MK Ultra, is it just mind control, or does it have a bigger influence? And how does this affect you?
If you tell a lie enough, it becomes true. Right, so mind control goes back all the way to Egyptian times with the Egyptian Book of the Dead. But, let's fast forward to more recent times.
So before World War II, the Nazis were already experimenting with mind control.
Okay, so after World War II, the US DoD, or Department of Defense, recruited many of the top Nazi scientists, which was actually called Project Paperclip. And they met with President Truman and a bunch of other US generals. So the Office of Strategic Services eventually became the CIA with Allen Dulles at the head in 1947.
So yeah, this is like Hydra. I mean, this is literally a worse situation than Winter Soldier.
This is like, at least in Winter Soldier had mind control. This is like real life.
But at least in Winter Soldier, like Hydra infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. Like here, we let them right in.
It'd be like, so the Office of Strategic Services eventually became the CIA.
So yeah, this is like Hydra.
S.H.I.E.L.D. is
Hydra. It's like, basically.
That's crazy.
So,
you're right. Okay, so in 1953, during the Cold War, Dulles approved Project MK Ultra to originally combat the Soviets, who were brainwashing enemies with drugs and other psychological manipulators. However, this went from being used for warfare to the general public, with hundreds being tested without knowing, and some of them did know and some of them didn't know.
Right.
I mean, they had over 80 different testing sites from colleges, drug manufacturers, hospitals, prisons, and realistically, Columbia University seemed to be one of the biggest test sites that they had. Right? MK Ultra is now a blanket term used for pretty much anything related to mind control. They were using other terms after that, like Project Orion, MK Delta, Project Clean Sweep.
Quote from former Soviet dictator.
Well, don't forget mass murderer as well.
Yeah, of course. Joseph Stalin, who said, "If I could control the medium of the American motion picture, I would need nothing else to convert the entire world to communism."
Related to all of this in Hollywood, and the reason being is basically control the culture. When you control the culture, you can control what the mainstream general population is receiving.
Satanic worshiping is rampant throughout the government and the entertainment industry.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So this guy named Michael Aquino, who we just mentioned in our last video about mind control, was one of the main people working with the CIA, and he was doing most of these experiments in what became kind of like the mastermind behind of what MKUltra is today.
He has a long history of doing insane stuff and was actually a military officer. He started the weird demonic cult called Temple of Set. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that.
Why was he doing this? Well, he basically was wanting to turn everything that was upright upside down. That was this whole thing, and that's kind of what Satanism. We basically have to explain this to show you how weird and crazy Hollywood.
Well, and how wrapped up like mind control is even with things that we're normally consuming.
Right, exactly.
So now the purpose of this is to basically mold society how they want and send messages, dumb us down, make us slaves to the systems, blah blah blah. Anyway.
MKUltra is now a blanket term used for pretty much anything related to mind control. They were using other terms after that, like Project Orion, MK Delta, Project Clean.
People have said like they open their cell phone and they're thinking about something and like it pops up.
You had it read your mind, your phone yet?
Oh yeah.
So yeah. I didn't even, okay. A lot of people have had that happen. They think of the thing and it pops up on their phone. Yeah. I've had the talking about something and it popped up.
Yep.
That's been around a while.
Yes, that's been around a while.
But a bunch of people like, I think, so you know about the mind reading headphones?
People have said like they open their cell phone and they're thinking about something and like it pops up. Yeah, dude. They got that shit, dude. They call it neural processing unit for a reason, dude. Neural processing unit. They can read your fucking mind now.
Reading brainwaves and interpreting what people are thinking is a step in that direction.
This next breakthrough is a lot deeper, all the way down to the very tissue of our brains, where researchers have used AI to translate brain scans into text.
UT researchers have essentially created a device called a semantic decoder that can read a person's mind by converting brain activity into a string of text.
The findings of the semantic decoder are undeniably remarkable.
Tonight we turn to news in one specific way that artificial intelligence technology is changing our world, and it is absolutely remarkable.
These neuroscientists at the University of Texas in Austin say they've made a major breakthrough. They've figured out how to translate brain activity into words using artificial intelligence.
The researchers incorporated a generative neural network language model, or generative AI. Interestingly, they used GPT-1, an earlier version of the now famous ChatGPT models. This model can accurately predict the most likely words to follow in a given sequence. If a person hears or thinks the word apple, the decoder learns the corresponding brain activity. When the person encounters a new word or sentence, the algorithm utilizes learned associations to generate a word sequence matching the language stimulus's meaning. Their device can reconstruct continuous language from perceived speech, imagined speech, and silent videos. The company Meta also recently did the same. But that's not all. Just last month, Meta also unveiled an AI system that can analyze a person's brainwaves and predict what that person is looking at. If that's not enough, they were able to do this in real time. Basically, the system was mind reading.
Yeah, dude. They got that shit, dude. They call it neural processing unit for a reason, dude. Neural processing unit. They can read your fucking mind now. And they're implementing this to not just be able to read targeted individuals' mind and key personnel, but like everyone, everywhere, all the time. They know everything everyone is doing and thinking. And then based on that, they're gonna manage the population, manage the herd.
The Smart Dust project was funded by DARPA for military applications, specifically for rapid deployment of defense sensor networks onto the battlefield. Battlefield sensing is inherently about detecting people who don't know that they're being detected. The invisibility and undetectability are deliberate design priorities. This technology appeared in the public with U.S. Patent 11354-666B1, Smart Dust Usage, which was filed on May 26, 2016, and granted on June 7, 2022. It is assigned to Wells Fargo Bank and describes a system for authenticating a user making a payment using Smart Dust. Smart Dust is technically known as MEMS, Microelectromechanical Systems, and is comprised of what are called motes. A mote is a single, self-contained microsensor node. Each mote measures 1 cubic millimeter or less and is roughly the size of a grain of sand. These motes are released as clouds, with thousands of sensor nodes simultaneously sampling the target from multiple angles and positions. The biometric data being collected includes location, facial and body recognition, heart rate, blood pressure, body temperature, breath rate, voice recognition, and fingerprint scanning. The system is designed to create a unique cryptographic signature for every individual based on biological and behavioral data, and is designed to operate without being noticed. The patent describes the motes as a cloud around the user, but UC Berkeley researchers have successfully implanted smart dust sensors into rats in order to monitor and control nerve and muscle activity. This technology requires no batteries and relies on ultrasound to draw power. Scientists claim that for humans, internal smart dust devices could monitor vital signs and could enable control over prosthetics and robotic limbs. In March 2022, the University of Washington's Dandelion breakthrough, partially funded by the U.S. Air Force, deployed tiny battery-free wireless sensors by wind, inspired by dandelion seeds. The senior author stated that, "Our prototype suggests that you could use a drone to release thousands of these devices in a single drop." In 2024, a large blanket of fog affected the United Kingdom, the USA, and Canada. Over 20,000 travelers in the UK and 3.8 million drivers in the USA were impacted. People described it as a thick blanket of fog with a particle-like appearance, which had an odd chemical, electrical, or burning smell to it. And many people claimed to experience fever, coughing, sore throat, headache, and fatigue after exposure. The fog hit during the Christmas and New Year travel period, when millions were moving around for the holidays. A second patent, US 11748-578B1, predictive text system, was filed in November 2021 and granted on September 2023 to Wells Fargo Bank. This patent describes a system that uses neural networks and machine learning to analyze and predict your financial thoughts and intentions in real time as you type. Combined with the biometric data from SmartDust, this creates a system that can monitor both what you're physically doing and what you're thinking about financially. A predictive behavioral surveillance system designed to be always on and continuously learning. This is the exact infrastructure needed for implementing a social credit system. The SmartDust market was valued at $153.9 million in 2024 and is estimated to grow at a compound annual growth rate of over 14.3% from 2025 to 2034. Industrial use has increased significantly in 2023 and 2024, with integration of artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms now allowing smart dust devices to analyze data locally and make autonomous decisions. This technology is currently moving from laboratories to public deployment, which has naturally caused concern. In the 1950s and 60s, the U.S. Army conducted open-air biological and chemical tests over American cities without public knowledge or consent.